Alright, Shalom Israel. Here goes some more going into the feast days is determined by the moon. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season. So the moon serves in her season for a declaration of times. So the moon declares times, man. Alright? And a sign of the world. It's a sign for the world, man. The moon. That's why on the Passion of Christ they had the I know that's an Edomite version of the story, but they had the full moon on there, which they're correct, man. From the moon is the sign of the feast. We read that in Psalms 104 verse 19, that the Most High made the feast for seasons. Alright, so the moon is a sign of feast. That's how we find our Mawa'ad in the Hebrew. Okay? Mawa'ad. Pesach Mawa'ad, man. The Passover season, man. Alright, from the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name. Alright, so clearly the moon is how we get our feast days, man. Okay? Our feast days that come in seasons. Alright? Not the Sabbaths, alright? But our feast days. Alright, because the Sabbath is a weekly cycle. It don't come every season. We don't have to wait for to figure out when the Sabbath come each season, because the Sabbath is every 7 days. But the feast days come in different seasons, like the spring. That's why it says he made the moon also to serve in her season. So let me get another verse showing that the moon is how we find our feast days. This is Psalms 81 verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed in our solemn feast day, for this was a statute for Israel in the law of the God of Jacob. For this he ordained in Joseph for a testimony when he went out through the land of Egypt, where I heard language that I understood not. So the feast days were determined by that appointed time, man. Right, when we came out of Egypt. So when you look up this word appointed time, it's going to say full moon in the Hebrew, Israel, showing you that the feast days is determined by the full moon, right? Time appointed in the Hebrew, it says kasa, kasa. Okay, so this is the Hebrew word kasa. Y'all can look up the Hebrew word kasa on your own, Israel, or look it up in your concordance. 3677 is kasa, which the word kasa says full moon, man. Kasa. Apparently from 3680, properly fullness or the full moon. It's festival. Time appointed, man. So on the Passover, it's a full moon, Israel. And I'm gonna get another testimony or another witness showing that the Passover is always on a full moon. Alright? So if you're not dealing with the full moon, you're not dealing with the season we came out of Egypt. You're just dealing with some other stuff, okay? And this is going to be out of my Josephus, right? Which I think every Israelite should get a Josephus, like it, okay? Because Josephus has a lot of nuggets in here, but everybody ain't ready for the JoJo. Okay? Mine is pretty beat up. I need to get another one, which I'm going to go to page 96, Most High willing, and show that the feast days is always go by the lunar Sabbath, the lunar cycles, like it. Which the lunar Sabbath is the feast day Sabbaths, like it. But can you bring this light over here, cause it's kind of dark. Like it. Yeah, I need some light, cause this camera. Can you help me, please? Cause I'm on the time limit. I need you to use some speed. All right, for Israel. Thank you. This is out of Josephus, chapter 10, Sucker. Chapter 10. It says, concerning the festivals and how each day of such festivals is to be observed. It says, the law requires that out of the public expenses a lamb of the first year be killed every day, at the beginning and the ending of the day. But on the seventh day, which is called the Sabbath, they kill two and sacrifice them in the same manner. At the new moon, they both perform the daily sacrifices and slay two bulls with 7 lambs of the first year and a kid of the goats. Alright, go up here. Also for the expiation of sins, that is, if they have sinned through ignorance, but on the seventh month, which the Macedonians call Hyperberadius, they make an addition to those already mentioned, and sacrifice a bull, a ram, and 7 lambs, and a kid and the goats. And on the 10th day, of the same lunar month, right? So they're showing you that even the Day of Atonement goes by the lunar month. All right, on the 10th day of the same lunar month, they fast till evening, dealing with the Day of Atonement, which is on a lunar month, Israel. In this day, they sacrifice a bull, 2 rams, and 7 lambs, and a kid of the goats for sins. So we clearly see that the Day of Atonement even goes on that lunar cycle, which I'm going to bring it out on the Passover, Yahweh willing. Now I'm going to get this last point, Yahweh willing. Okay, it says verse 5. It says, in the month of Anthicus, which is by us called Nisan, in the month of Anthicus, which is by us called Nisan, and is the beginning of our year. So Nisan is the beginning of our year, which is another name for Abib, and is the beginning of our year. And on the 14th day, what did it say? On the 14th day of the lunar month, when the sun is in Aries, for in this month it was that we were delivered from bondage under the Egyptians, and law ordained that we should every year slay the sacrifice which I before told you we slew when we came out of Egypt, and which was called the Passover. And so we do celebrate this Passover in companies, leaving nothing of what we sacrificed till the day following. Alright, so that was the point, Israel. My son going crazy over there. Won't stop talking. I'm about to cuss him out in a minute. But yeah, it tell you clearly that the Passover goes by the lunar month, which is on the 14th day. So I praise to the Heavenly Father, Hayaka. Hopefully y'all can see that the beginning of our year, on the 14th day, of the lunar month, just like I read in Psalms 81:3 with the Hebrew word kasah, showing that the Passover is determined by the new moon. Alright, because the moon is the sign of our feast, like it's written in the book of Sirach. And the Passover is on the full moon, man. Alright. Full moon. Alright, so Josephus tell you it was on the lunar month, and we read in Psalms 81:3 it was on the full moon. So hopefully that was edifying. And I mean, it goes by the moon, man. It's that simple. So all praise Yahweh, Yahweh Kaba, Shema Shak, Yahweh Shah, Shalom.